we've got that going on. And I do want to do a quick transfer in. So we'll keep this to one question. What is the best thing that's happened to you? I'll let you decide. Is that personal or business? I'll leave that up to you to answer. What's the best thing that's happened to you in the last week? Jack, since you were the first on, you're the first up.
Oh, well, I don't. I almost have a location. I know I've got to have it this week. So yeah, I have one, but I don't want to do a 3-year lease. I've got one that I just emailed the commercial real. So that will be the best thing. I'm already going to say it's going to happen. It's got to happen. So that's it.
There you go. Good. Andrea, how about you?
Well, what I've already told you, I could schedule my exam, my contractor's license exam. So I'm really happy.
That's really good. That's really good. All right, Leandro, let's hear it. You got to tell the whole world.
Yes. Well, for me, I have my status, so that's for the best thing.
Congrats, Leandro.
Thank you.
For those of you that have never had to deal with immigration or never had to deal with somebody that went through immigration, that is a big deal. That is a big deal. Good stuff. Zach.
I think I found an office manager with some flooring experience, a lot of flooring experience. Matter of fact, he schooled me a little bit yesterday.
Oh, good. I like it. Mike Hudson.
So my wife broke her leg a couple of weeks ago, and so she had her checkup appointment this past week, and it's coming along very well. So it set us back on her joining me with all this stuff, but she's well on the way to recovery.
So Mike starts this by saying the best thing that's happened to me is that my wife broke her leg.
There you go.
Timing is everything. All right, Jorge.
Hello, everyone. I did my first ride-along last week. I am so excited with it. And the next Monday, my son is going to start the school here in the state. We are very happy with that too.
Nice. All right, let's see. I see Sally and Jeremy's on a different box. So I'll go Sally and then Jeremy. Where'd she go? All right, now I've lost her. All right, so I had her and then she was gone. All right, so we'll go to Carly and Miguel.
I saw Elvis. What's your best thing?
The best thing, we get our wheels on our van.
Big times. Linda, how about you?
Probably I finally got my office position posted and I've started getting lots of resumes flowing in. So that's a good start.
Good stuff. All right, we've got Mark Baldwin and Katie.
For those who don't know Katie, she's my business partner and partner in life here. So she's was in the office today, so I decided to have her join as well.
Good stuff. Nice. I like it. John Neff, what's the best thing that's happened to you in the last week?
You know, my best thing? I mean, this is good too, but.
Yeah, Mark, I mean, I thought this was the best thing. Okay,
we unpacked all our samples yesterday and went through all the hardwood stuff really in detail. So that was super fun.
Good. All right, now we go to John.
Yeah, I got my mobile showroom last week and took possession of my warehouse. So that was exciting.
I love it. Let's see, Liz.
So since last week, so much has happened with California and me. First, I got the letter that said I was able to schedule my 2 contractors exams. So I scheduled it and I took the first one and I passed the first one. So that was really exciting. I was jumping up and down in the office and the whole team was laughing at me. But I was very excited. And then the second part of that I take tomorrow. Nice. So I have not gone through my mobile inventory yet. It is Tetris like anything in my garage and my van. Of the pallets, apparently one came and was completely obliterated. So boxes were everywhere. I have some samples that don't even have boxes. So this will be a fun inventory project, but I'm not even thinking about it until after tomorrow's exam.
Nice. All right, let's see. Mutu and Anam.
Yes, we have two good things happen for us this week. One is we found a good office, and that is in our territory as well. So it's so good, and it's a very good location, we would say, and a lot of traffic as well. And another thing is I'm getting the van tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Donovan.
Yeah, I also had to. I got a van and I hired an office manager this week. So you just accepted this today. So
Nice. Nice. Okay, let's see. Mike McPherson.
Yeah, so as part of our licensing in the village that we're set up in, we had to have a fire inspection of our office/warehouse, and we passed that last week. So that's good news. So I've got to follow up with the village and see where we're at, but glad to have that behind us.
Good stuff. All right, let's go back to Sally. I see her back on here.
We're having internet connection issues. Can you hear me?
We do.
Okay. I think probably the best thing that's happened to me is my son came back to visit from college. So we had a nice visit.
Nice. Nice.
So.
Michael Pfefferman.
Yeah, mine's personal too. I had an old friend, somebody from first grade, come back into town for a baby shower. It's just somebody I thought would probably never settle down and have kids, and so that was a pretty cool deal, and it was kind of a reunion as well.
Nice. Mommy, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Hi everyone. The good thing happened to us this week is our van is went out for painting, so can't wait to see our mobile showroom.
Good stuff. Adriana.
Hello all. Well, I have two things that happened to me this week. The first one is that we're signing today the contract for the warehouse. And the second is that I had my biometric
okay.
The things, so everything for the visa, for my visa for Canada. Then hopefully it will take just 1 or 2 weeks to get
good.
it. Yeah.
Good. Getting closer, getting closer. Scott. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. I think I found some office space to go with my shared warehouse space.
Good stuff. Let's see. How about Elise?
I went over and saw my neighbor, Christina Scherer, territory neighbor. I got to see her operation, ask her a ton of questions, and it was really cool. And it just made me feel a lot better about everything and have a little less anxiety. So that was pretty fun.
Nice. Let's see. How about Mike Balthazar?
Oh, I got my South Carolina specialty license, Arlen. And then I actually spent the day with the installers yesterday and helped with the installation. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah. You feel good about paying that $100 for that rubber stamp, don't you?
Exactly.
All right. Jeremy.
Pretty much ditto what Sally said. It was great to see our son again. And then I've been making progress at the new location. Now the fun part where we get to start tearing out carpet and painting walls. So
nice.
Good stuff.
All right, let's see. I know I've missed Max, but Max sent me a note saying he's finishing up a phone call. Other than Max, is there anybody that I missed? I try to go down each one of the boxes, but sometimes the boxes move around and I miss somebody.
Leslie, I'm here.
Leslie.
My good thing that happened this week is I haven't jumped off a cliff yet. So
sometimes that's the best thing possible.
Yeah. Everything's going good. I'm just getting a lot of stuff checked off the list. So just a lot overwhelming. But
nice.
Good.
All right, good stuff. Okay, so here is where I would like to start. We're going to spend some time, just us, talking about your hardwood proposals. I asked you guys for this week to go through your hardwood samples and to do the inventory sheet. I'm not going to go over those with you. Those are for you. Those are for you to get a better understanding. I've had some interesting messages from people saying this was really, really hard. Why did you make us do this? And other people saying, yeah, this was really hard, but I understand why you made us do it, but it's still hard. Yep, it is. I like to tell people that 90% of the time, all the information that you're ever going to need is on the sample board. But for the other 10% of the time, you really do need to know how to get it. So that is that's an exercise that I used to do with my DAs. Today here in Columbia, South Carolina, we're running about 97 degrees, which is nothing compared to where Linda is, but we're running at about a 96, 97% humidity. And so when you walk outside, you immediately are covered in sweat. Just be thankful that you're not one of my DAs starting now, because you'd be standing outside in the full sun, in the heat, doing a hardwood inventory. Where I want us to start, we're going to spend some time looking at hardwood proposals. Sean is going to join us here in about 15 minutes or so. Excuse me, Lee is going to join us here in about 15 minutes, and she's going to walk you through the common billing schedule. She's going to walk you through how royalties and brand fund and all that stuff is calculated. I want to make sure that that is really, really, really clear. Okay, so I'm not saying that people never make mistakes. Sometimes they do, but most of the time when I see people push back on a royalty bill, it's because they didn't understand how it was being calculated. So I just want to make sure that that's really clear. And Lee is part of that team, so it makes sense for her to walk you through that. So Lee's going to do that. Then Sean is going to come on and he's going to walk through merchandising stuff with you. And then at the very end, I'll give you your homework for next week, which, no big surprise, you're going to write another proposal. You're going to continue to work through your sample sheets, but this time you're going to be focused on LVP. So as a way of working through a proposal, I want to take at random, nobody's in particular, but I want to take somebody's project and just walk through it with you so that you see, I mean, you've seen the videos, but so that you see the way that I look at these hardwood proposals. How am I evaluating these proposals? So would somebody want to volunteer one of their project number?
You can do mine if you want,
Okay.
Leslie.
Yep. What was yours?
Let me find it. Sorry.
Well, and while you're pulling that up, just a quick question for you. With the sample, I know Bruce had given us some that might be missing. If there were more missing, which I still need to double check for sure, work with Bruce directly to
Absolutely.
rectify that. Okay.
Yep. And while Leslie's looking up that number, you guys can see my screen, right? Okay, let me just show you a couple of resources. You're going to want to write down or remember where these are. Okay, so if I go out to floor 1-1, and there's even a special little shortcut to get to the merchandising section. So I'm going to log into floor 1-1. And when this opens up, oh, by the way, look, convention dates are already announced. You might as well go ahead and get plane tickets now before they get really expensive. Register early. All right, so if you pop over here to the left, you can always go to the dashboard, the library, and the franchise owner's manual. But Sean actually has a really, really quick link to get to merchandising. So when you're in floor 1-1 on this main menu over here, if you just click on merchandising, it takes you to the same place. You're still going into the franchise owner's manual, but you're specifically going into the merchandising subfolder. So here we are, we're in the franchise owner's manual and we're in merchandising already. So from here, probably the most important section in this whole thing is this section called the mobile showroom. So when I click on this mobile showroom, there's several things that are really, really key to you. One, these two files right here are going to be go-to files for the rest of your life, at least for the rest of your life in floor coverings. the mobile and studio crossover inventory list and the vendor drop list. So the mobile and studio crossover inventory list, this is a list that you've seen. We talked about it during pre-launch, but I am going to go ahead and open that up, and I'm going to open up the vendor drop list. So let's just open up the mobile and studio crossover inventory list, which you guys already know about. And of course, it opens on another screen. All right, so let's move this guy over. And we open this up. And so you've got two tabs down here. Well, there's three tabs, but there's the first two are the most important two. So you've got your mobile showroom crossover names. So, you know, when you're looking at your hardwood, since you guys were playing in hardwood this week, when you look at your hardwood, you might say, here we go. Somebody asked me about Burton. Good, so here's Burton. Burton is solid oak and hickory. It is a solid hardwood floor. That means it's 3/4 of an inch thick. It's made by Hartco, which is AHF. And in their collection, if I wanted to go to their website and look at it, it's called their Natural Forest Collection. And you guys have already figured out that if you click on this little box here, then it opens up their website. The second tab, this is everything that should be in your studio set. So why do you have the studio set? Well, the studio set is here for things that you're probably not going to need every day. You know, that's why they're not in the van, but it's something that you might need once in a while. So you've got wool carpets, for example. Well, you're not going to need wool carpets every day. So it makes sense to have one set for the office to share. See, right now you just have one van and it doesn't make sense. Why do I have a set for the van, and why do I have a sample for the warehouse? But think about it like this. Let's say you have 3 vans. You've got 3 design associates and you have your warehouse. Well, each van is going to have a full collection of the mobile showroom stuff, but your warehouse is going to have one set of these things, okay? Because these things you don't need as often. So it doesn't make sense to buy 3 of them. And yes, you end up buying samples. So it doesn't make sense to buy 3 of them. Like you've got a whole set of commercial carpet, but your DAs aren't going to run commercial jobs very often. You know, you've got stuff in here like bamboo or rubber or cork. Okay, well, that's great. You've got bamboo and rubber and cork. So you have those things, but it's not going to be an everyday thing that you need bamboo or rubber or cork. And if you happen to live in an area where it is, great, you can just get additional samples of that. But normally what happens is, you know, you've got 3 vans out there running, your DAs are running with their normal mobile showroom samples. They make a setup call with the customer and the customer says, I'm wanting to do a home gym. So what do? They just grab the rubber board on their way out the door, use it for that appointment and bring it back. So there's no reason to have that 3 times. Okay. The other tab that's on here, these are the 2023 new products. That's wonderful stuff. So now let's take a look at the drop list, which is equally as important, if not in some ways more so. So this is a drop list that Sean just published a week or so ago, maybe not even that long. And the drop list sits in the exact same folder. You saw me download both of these. So it's a long sheet because it's got everything from, you know, basically from the beginning of time. But you won't be terribly interested in the stuff from 2018. Those aren't in the van anymore. But I can come down to the stuff that's at the bottom of the list. And I can say, okay, what is it that's being dropped? So let's just get all the way to the bottom of the list here. Oh, good. So we've got like Lamberton. And in some cases, like this one, you'll see, this is a color only. So if I were to pull my Lamberton board out of the van, I might take a black Sharpie marker or a label maker and put the word discontinued or some sort of label over it. And just, it's not the whole board that's discontinued. It's only that one color. Okay, well, that's good to know. Then you've got other stuff where, you know, all of this Emser tile is being discontinued. And you'll notice in this case, that's all colors for that one. What do you do with it? Just put it in the trash. There's, don't confuse yourself with it later. So this list is it's an ever-growing, ever-evolving list. Let's see what we've got here. Find your comfort. All right, so that's good. Trendy accents, that one's out. So anyway, my point in all this is if you're concerned, is there something that's discontinued? I can always do a control find and say, show me Burton. It doesn't find it because, well, Burton's not discontinued. We found it on the other list. On the other hand, if I were to look for something called, you guys have never seen this, you'll never see this. If I look at Irmo, I know it's in there. Anyway, that's one of the discontinued boards, and you'd be able to find it right there. I don't want to waste any more time with that. Questions on either one of those two files?
Carolyn, is it possible that we have a board that we've just gotten that has something discontinued on it in a color that we need to check this immediately?
Possible. Yes, that is possible. Because the color samples, think about it, you've got a board that has 20 or 30 different colors, like a carpet board that's got a bunch of different colors. They're not going to resample the board because one color dropped. They're just going to tell you that this color is discontinued. So yeah, it's still worth going through that list. And I've sorted it for the stuff that's been discontinued in 2023. Okay, so let's take a look. Leslie, what was your product number?
03507560.
All right. So when I do the videos, you guys get the short version. I've already gone through and looked at a bunch of stuff and tried to put my head around what we're doing. The first thing that I will do is, and I'm only doing it for the first week. After the first week, I assume that you guys are learning and that we're moving forward from there. But I will click on the customer name because I want to make sure that it's marked exclude from reports. If this is not excluded from reports, then you land a job, you produce a job, all of a sudden you're going to get a royalty bill for it. So that's why this field is so important to mark. So that one's done. Let's go back here and hit related. And I can see what options have been produced or not produced, what options have been written. And the other thing I like to do is I like to look at the installation plan. The installation plan allows me to see what you did in the tablet. So I can see that Leslie drew 2 rooms, bedroom 1, bedroom 2. Both of them have a plywood subfloor, and I can see the dimensions there. If she had done an inspection video, that video would show up here. Bedroom 1, what can we say? We're going to remove and haul away carpet and pad. Standard furniture move, we've got a 32-inch doorway. Subfloor is plywood. If you take a picture while you're in that room, so you'll also see a more detailed view of the drawing itself. But if you take any pictures, then you get a chance to see the pictures. So those are there. Bedroom number 2, I keep scrolling down. Same thing, we're removing carpet. We're going to put plywood in place. We're going to put, or excuse me, we have a plywood subfloor. We're going to take hardwood out. Again, I can see that. And if there had been a picture, you've got this here. Okay. So
My niece wouldn't let me. She said my room's a mess.
that's all right. All right. So now we go to the proposal editor. All right. So PG3 hardwood. I told you guys to pick PG3 hardwood. Just like basic math here. I have a 10% waste factor. Leslie measured 210 square feet. So this is the simple math is first. What is 10% of 210?
21.
21. All right. So what's 210 plus 21?
271.
31.
230.
231.
Oh,
231.
Yep.
All right. 231. So why doesn't this number say 231?
Does it based on box size, so you might be it rounds up to the next box.
Exactly. Yep. It rounds up to the next box. So PG3, who knows? I mean, typically hardwood is somewhere between 20 and 30 square feet. We're just going to say 25. So the PGs are sort of set at a 25 square foot box. If you put in the exact product name, it's going to round it to the exact box, to the next box. Okay. So if it happened to be 30 square feet, it's going to round it that way. All right, hard surface freight. This is one that I want to dive into. I'm glad that this one is like this. I want to make sure that you guys understand the difference between a variable cost and a fixed cost when it comes to freight. So a variable cost means the more you buy, the more your freight is going to be. Well, that makes sense, right? If I buy 100 pounds of something, or if I buy 200 pounds of something, you would expect to pay more freight for the 200 pounds. And that's the way that carpet works. So with carpet, if you buy one roll of carpet, you're going to pay one price for freight. If you buy 2 rolls of carpet, you're going to end up paying more for freight. But I mean, it makes sense. On a percentage basis, it's the same, right? I'm going to pay whatever it is. I'm going to pay 5% in freight. Okay, well, 5% on 100 square yards is one thing, and 5% on 200 square yards is double that. Does that make sense? Right? We can get our head around that one. But for hard surface freight, and I'm not sure why the industry is like this, but the industry is like this. For hard surface freight, people simply charge you a drop fee. So it doesn't matter if you bought a half a pallet. It doesn't matter if you bought a full pallet. It doesn't matter if you bought 6 pallets. You can get 6 pallets worth of product for one freight drop charge. If it's all coming on the same truck, they're making one delivery to your warehouse, and it's one fee. Now, each one of the suppliers has a different fee. Cali charges right now, and they change, but Cali charges right now $99 for a drop charge. I think AHF and Shaw are both right around $125. So my suggestion to you when handling hard surface freight, and I know it's wrong in the tablet, this is part of the issue. I know it's wrong in the tablet because the tablet assumes that hard surface freight is variable. My suggestion to you is to change the quantity to 1. When you're in the tablet, hit the pencil and change the quantity to 1. Make your waste factor 0 so that it makes your adjusted quantity 1. So this should read 1, 1, 0. And then whatever your drop charge is, put that in. So if it's $125, this would read 1, 1, 0, $125. And let me pause and make sure that we're okay with that. Does that make sense?
When I went in there to change it, I thought I changed it. But obviously that didn't happen.
You changed it in the tablet?
Yeah. And I synced.
And then you did sync?
Uh-huh.
All right. So it should have changed it.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you, you can change it right here in Salesforce. So you actually can hit this button that says edit section.
Okay.
And you can go in here, and now everything that's in a box you can change. So you can change the quantity, you can change the waste, you can change it right here in Salesforce, and then hit save. I'm going to hit cancel. That also allows you to move things up and down. If I remember right, go ahead.
No, just the waste factor confusion kind of too, as far as like, if it's just installation, that should be 0.
Well, yeah, so waste factor, if you measured 23 square yards, and that's the reason that this says 210 and this says 23, this is square feet and this is square yards. If you measure 23 square yards and you're going to remove 23 square yards of carpet, you don't really need a waste factor for that, right? I mean, it's not like the room grew. Right. Same thing with furniture move. You measure 210 square feet, you probably don't need a 10% waste factor on furniture move. Mm-hmm. Install is a different story. So with installation, you're going to have some installers that talk to you about wanting to get paid for the 232. So they're going to want to get paid for the waste, but then their rate per square foot might be lower. If you have somebody who is charging you or is okay with being charged on the net, their rate might end up being higher. At the end of the day, the installer wants to get paid for the number of boxes that they touched. So this is a discussion, whether you have the 10% in here or not, is a discussion with your installers. But if you have the 10% in here, Essentially what you're doing is you're paying the installer also for the waste, okay? But the rate should reflect that. So instead of $3, maybe it should be $2.75. Let's see what questions there are there. Mommy.
Yes. Sorry, I'm kind of confused. About after you do the proposal, how do we know if when and where do we have to change the unit cost or the waste? Like, how are you gonna know what number to plug in? I thought the after you do the demo, the tablet will automatically do everything for you. Like, how are we gonna know what number should we put? What is the right number? And
This is why you have 5 weeks of training. So this is part of the training. It's for you to understand the tablet is what I call semi-automatic. The tablet is going to propose stuff in the proposal. It's going to give you a whole list of things to think about, but you have to actually think about them and make sure that it's what you want in the proposal. Okay. All right. So I see that Lee, sorry, was there another question?
no, I was like, okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. I see that Lee has joined us. So I'm going to let Lee take over at this point. And then I'll pick it up after that.
Okay. Hi, it's great to see y'all again. Was it 2 weeks ago that y'all were here? Or was it wasn't last week? Okay. Well, it's great to see y'all. I do have to apologize because, you know, I'm also the office manager and Karen in finance is out on vacation. And I've got a guy here working on the air conditioner and the exterminator coming in to take care of ants. So I'm hoping we're not interrupted. But so I'm apologizing early. All right, so we're going to talk about your invoices that you will get. They are run on the 30, well, they're dated the 31st of the month. So you have until midnight of the 30th or 31st of the month, whichever is the last day, to have all your sales in. And then we pull the report, actually Karen pulls it, and she runs the invoices. And it takes a couple of days to get them to get the invoices to y'all. And then the invoices, the payments are due on the 10th of each month. Let's see. We ACH the payments. We start setting them up on the 8th or 9th. So if there's a problem with your invoice, which hopefully there isn't, you need to tell us as quickly as possible before we set up the ACH. Once the ACH is set up, we cannot bring it back. So if you said, oh, you charged me for 2 emails, I only have 1, then just give us a heads up as quickly as you can when you get the invoice. And Karen always gives a cutoff date also. Like we need to have that information by close of business that Wednesday or whenever it is. Arlen, can you show the invoice? Do you mind?
Yep, I've got everything right here.
And the invoices are easy to read. Like at the very beginning, there will be items on there, but you will have a 0. Like your first invoice is not going to have royalties, or you've already gotten your first invoice, I guess, but it's not going to show royalties or brand fund on there. But like the item itself will be on there, like where it says royalty fee. This person paid $2,530.68. But if you haven't done your sales yet, yours is going to say 0. Same as you can see on this one, it says 0 on the left hand under quantity for exchange email. That person has no emails. The item is in there, but you can see if you follow it over, it says you were charged 0 for that. That's sometimes confusing to when you get your first couple of invoices. Let's see, your answering service is $255, and that stays the same every month. Your IT is by users. The more users you have, then the less expensive the rate is. So this person has 3 IT users. So it's $195 a person for the month. So their total is $585. And then the website, it's always $14.95. For your royalties, let's see. Right, so I showed you what this person's is. Arlen, can you show me the other page, please? Thank you. Okay, so you say your business go date at the top, 9/25/23. Is that for this class, Arlen?
It is.
Thank you for putting that one. So your first 90 days in business, you don't have any minimums. Whatever you sold, it will be the 5% royalty, 3% brand fund. Have they heard this before about 5 and 3? Or is this
This is, well, I'm sure they've seen it at some point, but this is the first time we've done it in this class.
okay? So your royalties are always 5%. Your brand fund is always 3%. So for your first 90 days in business, you don't have any minimum. So if you sold 0 the first month, then your royalties and brand fund will be 0. If you sold 100,000 the first month, and I hope you do, then you would have royalties and brand fund, but you don't have a minimum amount that you have to pay. Then 90 days later, it will start where it says like 1/1/24. So January 1st of next year, that's when your minimum will start. And I will send you an email the month before, just reminding you it's going to be starting. And then 9 months after that, then you go to the next tier of royalty minimums. And so that would be October 1st of 24. And then that's for a whole year. And then your year 3 minimum starts on 10/1/25, and that would be the top tier. That would be the most amount of minimums that you have. But hopefully you're going to be selling way over minimums. So that's just like as a guide. No, if you did not have a good month, then January 1st of 24, your minimum, I'm not even sure what this cost. I was thinking 1250, but I don't think so. I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me.
They need to refer to their franchise agreement, because with the 2023 agreement, it breaks down their percentages and what the amounts will be in the new agreement.
Thank you, Sab. Yes, I don't have those dollar amounts in front of me, but if you still have your agreement, which I'm sure you do, also your common billing schedule, you should have that, so that put it on your calendar. All right, January 1st of 2024, my minimums are going to be whatever it is. And then on 10/1/24, they're going to go up to the next tier. But I will send you the month before, just a reminder, so that it's not like, anything that y'all forgot.
So I want to, Lee, I want to pause here for just a moment, because this is an area that either Ron or I or Savannah end up getting a lot of questions around.
Okay.
So in your franchise agreement, Floor Coverings International can start charging you royalties from day one. Now, what are royalties based on? Royalties are based on your produced sales. In other words, what you have installed. Floor Coverings International does not charge you royalties on the jobs that you landed. The company charges you royalties based on the jobs that you have actually installed. Okay, so you go out and you land a massive job. I'm working with a franchise owner in Nevada. He just landed a $300,000 job. All right, well, that's great. He's landed the job. There's no royalty yet until that $300,000 job is produced. Okay, then when he's actually installed it, great. Now it makes sense to charge a royalty, not before it's produced. So because there's a lag, if you will, between when a job is landed and when it's produced, I mean, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 1 week in some cases, or it might be a month. Floor Coverings has added sort of a grace period. And this grace period is, you're not going to find it in the franchise agreement. It doesn't exist in the franchise agreement, but it's to your benefit. So nobody ever complains about it. There's a 3-month grace period when it comes to paying minimums. So let's say, I think the number's like 1283, but I don't know, it doesn't matter. Let's say that your first year royalty minimums are, I'm just going to round it up to $1,300. Let's say that your first year minimums are $1,300 a month. Okay, well, you come out of the gate September 25th, and you go out the month of October, you actually have a great month in sales. You sell $70,000 or $80,000 worth of business, but you only installed $10,000 of that. Well, according to the franchise agreement, Floor Covering could charge you a 5% royalty, or excuse me, could charge you your minimum from day one. Instead, that 3-month grace period says you're not going to have to pay that minimum. Instead, you'll just pay the 5% royalty. Because I mean, if you think about it, if you only land a $10,000, if you only produce $10,000 in that first month, well, 5%, $10,000, okay, it's $500. That's a whole lot better than paying $1,300. All right, great. So you've got 3 months to sort of get your feet underneath you. You got 3 months to sort of develop your sea legs to actually have something to work with, right? And like Lee said, hopefully after that point, you're never paying royalties again. Or excuse, not royalties, I did it. You're never paying minimums again, right? You're never paying minimums again. You will always pay royalty. You'll pay royalty on the very first job that you produce. It just so happens, it just is that if you happen to have a really, really low first month when it comes to production, when it comes to installation, don't worry, you're not getting charged with your minimum for 3 months. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
Yes, I have a quick question as far as the brand fund is concerned. Is it kind of different as far as if you're in part of a co-op? Because I'm kind of confused about that.
Well, you've got your 3% brand fund. And then on top of the brand fund, what is it? I think it might even be different by different co-ops, whatever you guys decide to do. But I think it's what, a 2% co-op fee?
What I was thinking.
Roughly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's up to the co-op to decide what they're going to do. But I think your co-op, Leslie, if I'm not mistaken, is a 2% co-op fee, right?
On top of the 3%.
On top of the 3%, right?
Okay.
And you will have a separate line on your invoice for the co-op. It will actually say like monthly co-op fee. So it's on there. It was not on the invoice that I showed you, but if you are in a co-op, then yes, that will be another line item for you. Does that make sense?
Yep, thank you.
Oh, welcome. And thanks, Arlen. Do you want to say something else, Arlen?
No, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. And here you can see kind of towards the middle, well, mine's jumping around, but we've been having internet problems here. The $220 per month for the first user under technology fee. But then if you were up to 6 users, it's $185 a month per user. So the more users you have, then the less it is per person per month. Let's see. I'm sorry, y'all, mine's jumping around. Is anybody else jumping or just mine?
So apparently, Lee, you have internet problems, you have AC problems. I mean,
and ants.
And ants. Got it.
And I'm still smiling, y'all. I'm still happy.
All right. So you got your technology fee, email only fee. So if you have somebody in the business that is never going to log into Salesforce, I mean, now, if somebody is going to use Salesforce, they have to have a Salesforce license. Salesforce does not allow the sharing of logins. But if you had, maybe you had a production coordinator that they don't have to go into Salesforce, all they're doing is they're running materials back and forth, or you might even decide to give an installer an email, okay, for whatever reason. If you have somebody that all they want is email, okay, good. You've got a $10 a month fee. If that's something, you don't have to do it, but if that's something that you need, you don't pay this $10 for you because your email is covered in the technology fee. This $10 a month is only if you want somebody to have just an email. The website fee is $14.95. The call center fee, notice you've got it's $255 a month for the inbound call center. The PPA stuff and the appointment stuff, that's all done separately. That's not done on the normal invoice. That's done through the PPA escrow. And you guys are going to spend some time with marketing, and you're going to spend some time in Floor U learning all about how that's covered. But you will see the $225 per month for basically for your inbound answering service. We've talked about the royalty and brand fund fee. There is an annual technology upgrade.
Usually, I believe in October and November.
Yeah, and you guys will not pay that fee this year. That's billed to franchisees who basically launched their business before June. So you guys haven't launched yet. It's already August. You won't get this fee this year, but you will see it next year. And then samples, there is always every manufacturer out there will turn over 20 or 30% of their product line every year. It's amazing. You don't think that carpet and hardwood change that much, but every manufacturer will sub out. They'll discontinue, bring in new colors, bring in new technology. So what normally happens is January, February, March, just to help you with cash flow, they'll take a $1,500 fee per mobile showroom and break it out over the 3 months, and that's there to cover all of the new sample sets that are coming to you. I call the first quarter silly season for samples, because there's samples coming in, samples going out, discontinued lists are flying around, and sometimes it takes until, well, June, July, August before all that dust is finally settled.
And you'll get to see at convention, you'll see some of the new products, and Sean can surprise y'all then. It's all good. Also, for your IT, if say your DA, you've decided, okay, that's not the right person. So you let that person go and you're going to hire another DA. If you terminate that person and let IT know on their support email before the 14th of the month, you will not be charged for that person's IT that month. If it's the 15th or later, then you will be charged for it. So sometimes we get calls, well, I terminated somebody and it was on the 16th, and you are, unfortunately, then you are charged for that month if it's the 15th or later. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes. Does anybody else have any questions? I would, like Savannah said, keep a copy of your franchise agreement and your common billing schedule pretty handy, because it has a lot of information that you can look up to. Karen, I'm sure y'all met Karen 2 weeks ago. She and I are in accounting along with Ben Case, the Chief Financial Officer, but we're here to help y'all with anything, any questions, and we'll try to make y'all happy. And some people are kind of scared of finance, but there's no reason to be. We're actually very friendly, and we're here to help.
Lee's friendly until you leave your coffee cups out on the table at night. If you at least get them back in the kitchen, that would be helpful.
But I still walk around and pick those up too. I may not be smiling then, but anyway. So when will y'all be back in the office?
September.
Okay,
towards
good.
the end of September.
Good. Well,
So
hopefully it'll
let's
cool
see.
down a little.
Let's see what we got. So we did that.
So, I actually can I ask a quick question?
Please.
On the, hi Lee. So jobs that are produced by the end of that month, the 30th or 31st, that's what we'll get billed on. So, and I haven't installed QuickBooks yet to understand all that, but so does that really mean that, like, if I have a job that kind of the installation finished on the 31st, there's probably something I need to do in Salesforce, like close that job to make sure that that month is all accurate?
Yes.
Like, it seems like that's like a tight window, right? So like every 31st or 30th, I should put on my calendar, like close up stuff and clean stuff up?
Actually, Liz, what I would say is that the practice should be, as jobs are finishing, that you're closing them in Salesforce. So whether it's the 5th or the 7th or the 20th or the 30th, that's just routine practice for you or for your office manager to do. You really don't want to wait until the 30th or the 31st to try to wrap everything up for the month. That way you're not trying to catch up the whole month right there on one day. Because what will catch people is there are people that have gotten themselves into that practice and it's hard to break. And so they'll wait until the 30th or 31st and they figure, well, as long as I get everything marked before the end of the month, it doesn't matter. Okay, well, in a sense, that's true. However, then there's that 1 month where, okay, it's the 30th of April. I've still got one more day, right? Nope. And all of it, and they turn to the next day and it's like, oh crap, it's May the 1st. I thought April had 31 days in it. Now what happens is maybe they've only got, $3,000 or $4,000 produced in the prior month, and you get hit with the minimum charge, right? And I will tell you this, there is nobody that wants minimums. The corporate office doesn't want minimums. Nobody wants. This is not a way of collecting revenue. Nobody wants that. And so my suggestion is that you figure out in your production practice with your office manager, what is the way to make sure that this job got finished today, it gets produced today, it gets marked in Salesforce today. And I'll just show you on this one. So Leslie, I'm going to mess with your proposal here, right? Because you already marked it as landed, and that's okay. And we already checked to make sure that this customer is a training customer. So we're not going to do any harm. Your office manager goes in and says, okay, now I've scheduled the job. So what do? I come over here and I mark the next status as complete. So what happens is, bam, now it shows this job is scheduled. Okay, so I'm in this option. I'm on the option here and I come over to produced. And as soon as I mark this produce, which I'm not going to do, I'll let Leslie do this one. When you hit this button that says mark it as complete, now this sucker shows up as being produced. And that's the key for Karen, for Lee, for the report when it runs to know that this is a produced job. And there's one more status which should be of high interest to everyone, and that is the paid status. And as a business owner, I want to make sure that my office manager is marking stuff paid once it's paid.
And like Arlen said, when you're just starting out, you don't have any bad habits to break. So just get in the habit of every day putting your jobs, your produced, everything in the system so that you don't get caught at the end. Because that's not fun. And then you're going to be worried about trying to catch up. And am I going to get in it? Oh, it's going to be 1 in the morning. Well, it was supposed to be midnight. So yeah, and then you'll have, accounting not being happy, but we're usually happy. Well, that's it for me. Does anybody else have questions?
Hey, Lee, with your counterpart being on vacation this week, if any of us have paid for, or earmarked to pay for the Go package, do we work through you on that this week?
Yeah, just email me. And it's Lee Smith. I'm sure you've got it on something. L.Smith. And yeah, and I'll be happy to take care of that for you. All right. Well, thank y'all. I hope y'all have a great week. And thanks,
stuff.
Arlen and Savannah.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Lee.
I can't even hit leave. My screen is bouncing everywhere. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right.
Y'all just ignore me.
We went through the common billing schedule. You will get a copy of these slides just so that you can go back and review this. Royalties are 5% or your minimum. So I've used this as an example. Let's just assume that the year one minimum is $1,250, and that is per month. So brand fund, there is no minimum, it's just 3%. And these are calculated on gross produced sales, but it's pre-tax. It is pre-tax. So sales tax in your area, if you're charging sales tax to the customers, you're not paying royalties on tax. So let's assume in example one, you got $45,000 in sales. 5% of that is $2,250. you got your brand fund of 1350. So you add those two numbers together and there you go. Example 2, you only had $20,000 in sales. And I probably should change this to say in produced sales, actually installed sales. So 5% of that is 1,000. But in this example, the royalty is, the minimum royalty is $1,250. So the brand fund is still $600. I mean, it's still 3% of 20. But now you would end up adding the $1,250 and the $600 together on your invoice. Lee went through the invoice, but I'll just throw it up here in case anybody's got any additional questions on that. Okay. Savannah do you know if Sean's ready or?
Yeah, I just ran down the hall and I heard him saying to the PAC group, my one takeaway for you would be, so I'm hoping that's his closing statement.
That takeaway could take 15 minutes. Come on, Sean.
I'm going to go stand outside the window.
Okay. All right. Good. Any further questions on stuff from Lee? Oh, good. I have a visitor coming. Good. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started talking about writing an LVP proposal. What does it mean to write a luxury vinyl plank proposal in your tablet? This is going to be your homework. I'm going to ask you to find a friend or family member, somebody other than your own house, because I really want you to get accustomed to measuring something other than a space that you see every day. Keep it simple though, just 1 or 2 rooms. Use LVP PG3 as your luxury vinyl plank, and you can assume a rigid, floated luxury vinyl plank. Okay, so when I say rigid, floated, do you need any sort of adhesive? No, right? Because I'm just going to float it, right? So does it matter what the subfloor is? See, I'm already starting to get you to think about this. Does it matter what the subfloor is? No. Now the subfloor needs to be flat. So if you walk into somebody's basement and the concrete is all wavy, then you might have some prep. But most of the time you really don't have much in the way of prep when it comes to LVP. If this is rigid, can you install this directly over a plywood subfloor? Sure.
Yes.
Do you need the 1/4 inch plywood? Do you need the 1/4 inch underlayment?
No.
No, you don't. So let's see how many people leave it in. That will be the catch. Let's see how many people mistakenly leave it in the proposal. Because I will tell you now that the tablet is going to, by default, it's going to throw it in there, giving you the option of saying, do I need this or not? Okay, remember we talked about it at pre-launch. It's much better for the tablet to propose things you don't need rather than not proposing things that you do. And so this is meant to give you a list of things that you might need, and you've got to be smart enough to know what to not use when you don't need it. I do want you to create the customer in Salesforce. I think that went really well for you guys. Put the appointment on your calendar, create the proposal on the tablet. Remember to close the proposal on the tablet and sync your tablet and send me the proposal number. Now, I'd like to review these by Thursday, but if you can't get it done by Thursday, don't worry. We'll review them again we're not going to have a ton of time to look at them together on Thursday. So if you can't get it done by then, that's fine. Linda's got one of these virtual hands up.
Yep. Thanks, Arlen. Just a quick question, and if you think I just haven't looked hard enough, tell me to go back and try again. But it's actually a 2-part question. Is there a way to create a customer directly without creating the lead and then converting it to a customer by creating a project or something? And then I was doing a proposal at one of my daughter's houses who I'd already used as like a pretend customer previously. So I thought, I'll just create a second project underneath that customer. For the life of me, I could not figure out how to add a project to an existing customer. There was no plus sign like there is, so maybe it's just me, but that's what I have 2 questions.
Really, really good question. Really good question. So to answer the first question, unfortunately, no, you cannot just create a customer directly. You have to create the lead first. That's
Okay.
a Salesforce thing. I wish there was a way just to create a customer. There's not. To that end, there's not a way to create a customer on the tablet. You have to start in Salesforce, which again is sort of a pain. It'd be nice to be able to create it right there in the tablet, but there's not. Okay. That's okay. So the second part of your question is actually not so bad. So if I take this customer, as a matter of fact, I can just go back to the customer. Here we go. So I'm looking at this customer record, right? I'm looking at this customer record. How would I create a new project? So just so that you know, there's nothing up the sleeve. If I click on related, you'll see that there's only, there's 2 projects already out there. There's a 60 and a 63. All right, well, that's fine. I'm going to go to details. It doesn't matter where I'm at. It says customer here. And if I go up here to smart scheduling, which I told you wouldn't work, okay, the scheduling piece doesn't work. But if I click on smart scheduling, there's going to be a menu. And what's not going to work for you right now is booking the appointment. The appointment stuff is not going to work for you because you don't have hours yet. But that last button that says create a new project, that will work.
Okay.
Okay.
So there is no, so I wasn't losing my mind. You can't just go to the
Nope.
project page and say plus and add
Nope.
a new project.
No,
Okay.
you go to the customer page and you add, you come up here to smart scheduling and generate a new project from here.
Okay. All right.
But
Thank
really,
you.
really good question.
Yeah, I didn't look at smart scheduling at all because I knew it wouldn't really work for me. So I didn't even
Yep.
search
Nope,
there.
that's good. It does, the
Okay.
scheduling part doesn't work, not yet. I mean, it works.
Right.
It doesn't work for you guys yet because you don't have hours in there yet. But
Yeah.
that one function under this box does work. I mean,
Okay.
you know, that's how you create a new project for an existing customer.
Okay. Thank you.
If your hours are in there, should they not be in there yet? Or does it matter?
They shouldn't be in there yet. The minute you put hours in there, you are signaling to the call center that you're ready to start taking appointments.
Ew. Got it.
I did all my little training and it said, go put hours in. So I put hours in. I'm gonna go take those out right now.
You
Yeah,
might
me
want to
too.
pull those back out. Yeah, you might. We will put those in like the week before you come back for launch. You know, unless, I mean, there's a couple of people on here, Max and Mike, that are buying existing businesses. You know, put your hours in there. You know, it doesn't hurt anything. As a matter of fact, when you guys get to the point where you feel really good about what you're doing, you don't have to wait until you come to launch to start landing business. You can start landing business whenever you feel like you're ready to do it. So there's nothing that says, you know, and honestly, I take advantage of that. There's nothing that says that you can't start landing work right now. I mean, unless you're in a licensed state and there's state requirements. All right, Savannah, where are we at?
Sean's here. I sent you a chat.
Oh, good. All right, Sean, I'm going to stop my share and give it to you.
Hey, God, I can't even find myself on here. I wanted to double check that I'm not muted. Hey guys, good to see you again, because just got to see you guys, I guess, last week or so. So what I want to do today is just give you a little navigation around a few products. And basically the big one is, where do I find stuff? So let me share my screen. Okay, I'm guessing you can see this. So hold on one second here. Okay, so sorry, I just had to close out something here. Okay, so what I want to show you is where to find stuff. And by that, I mean, what happens, I probably spend, I don't know, maybe a quarter or a third of my emails replying to people saying, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, where do I find it? And I will tell you, there is one place to find almost everything. Let me I needed to switch screens here. Sorry about this. Just clicked out of something I shouldn't have clicked out of. Can't find my screen here. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, you guys can see my screen now? Okay, so I'm sure Savannah and Arlen have talked to you ad nauseum about Floor 1.1. So this is our repository for obviously just about everything, including merchandising. And when you sign in, it depends. Sometimes you get a different menu along the side here. But if you go into the home menu and then, library, there's a quicker way to do this usually. You want to go into franchise owner's manual, which I'm sure you've probably poked in here quite a bit. And this is the folder you want to look for, merchandising resources. So under merchandising resources, you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff here. I think you guys have gone in here and gotten some credit applications and what have you. But the two folders that are most important to you are the mobile showroom and vendor partner support. I'm going to just show you here on mobile showroom first and foremost. There's really only two documents that you will probably look at on a regular basis. One is the mobile and studio crossover inventory list. And I know you've been, obviously in your initiation class, you saw a little bit of this. And I just want to take it through again. This is an ever-changing document because obviously manufacturers discontinue products at the beginning of the year. I take stuff off the mobile showroom. This is your MS. If something is a slow seller, I'm typically going to take it off of this list and either put it on studio or just make it disappear completely because it's a slow seller. And it doesn't mean you have to take the board and throw it out. It's just a slow seller. It's not discontinued. So on this mobile showroom list, what I want to do is I'm just going to go right from the top. You can see if it's got the floor covering private label name, our SKU number, product type, vendor, what the crossover name is, what their crossover SKU name is. And I actually, on these items, I have even included the product data sheet. Like for instance, if you were happen to sell Addington and you click on this button.
Sean, I don't think you're showing us that page right now. But now
it's not coming up.
Well, that website just came up, but the spreadsheet that you were looking at is not on your screen.
Oh, okay, thank you. Oops. Can you see it now?
You're gonna have to unshare, and instead of sharing the window, share the whole screen so that it follows you wherever you go.
All right, you said that the last time, Arlen, and I forgot that. Hold on a second. Share screen, share. Okay. Can you see it now?
Now we've got it.
Okay. So here's the crossover list. You can see the headers across the board. And I have attached a data sheet to all of these products. So if you want to find out more about Addington, you can just click on those buttons. Now, granted, you would have to do this on a desktop, and it'll give you a PDF of the product. There's thumbnail images of the all the colors, and it's just a super helpful document for you to sort of familiarize yourself with the product. Now, one of the other things this list is very useful for, and if you were on the call yesterday, I have highlighted in green the top sellers. So as you guys get in your business, you're probably not sure like what a bestseller looks like, what you should take into a particular client. I mean, you'll learn this as you go along. But if you start with the items that are highlighted in green, I will tell you, you're going to have a higher chance of success. Just these are nationally what we are selling in higher quantities. And one of the things customers want to know quite a bit is, customers are more confident if they know what they're purchasing already is a bestseller. So just a really, really great document. Print this out, have it on your passenger seat, basically at all times. It also tells you who the product comes from. I mean, you're not knowing exactly who makes what. Well, this will tell you that way. You're not, if you're scrambling, let's say, to find out is if the customer's asking you, when can you install it? Is this in stock or whatever? You know which vendor to check from. Now, I will tell you, we get a little spoiled with Shaw in that you can jump on to shawnow.com. You can check inventory, you can check pricing. For the most part, everybody else other than Shaw, it would require you either emailing a rep or calling the vendor phone number to check inventory. People sometimes forget in the flooring world, we're not like Amazon. Shaw is a $8 billion a year company where some of these smaller entities, they might be doing 60 million in business or 80 million in business, and they don't have robust websites where you can check inventory. So, majority of items are Shaw, but there will be some items obviously that just are from different vendors. So get familiar with this form, and you can see in hardwood, we have these items: Aston Park, top seller, Iron Creek, Meander Oak. These are all your top sellers. And then we do the same thing for vinyl, which one of the things you guys maybe wouldn't be aware of yet. Right now, probably 40 to 45% of our business is in vinyl. That category has just grown exponentially over the last couple of years. So this is the category that you're probably, if you get 5 estimates in the next week or something like that, I can almost guarantee you 3 of them or 4 of them are going to be people looking for vinyl. So this is the category you need to get familiar with quickest. And if you were on the call yesterday, one of the things that I really drew attention to, it's not on here just yet. There is a promotion going on this item right here that I'm sort of going across, this item called Maison. It's just a strap set. And this item is $1.59 a square foot. This is something, again, it's something that you should literally be showing on every estimate, because that's what your competition is going to be showing. The other item is that I have on promotion right now is this Builder's Choice line item 79. This is a 20 mil product that is $1.59 a square foot. I started with Floor Coverings International a little over 2.5 years ago. And I think the lowest priced item we had in this category at that point was $2 a square foot. So we now have absolutely the lowest prices in the industry. And you can be confident that you have the best price on the street on those items, not only with those 2, but basically all of these items. So Builder's Choice and Maison are absolutely 2 items that need to be on your radar day in, day out. So here's your studio crossover list. I'm not really going to spend much time on this. Studio items are typically they're higher priced items. It's where we have our wool carpeting. It's where we have some of our higher priced carpets. And this is particularly, these are going to be items that maybe somebody wants to do master bedroom in, or a seating area. They're typically not going to be items that people are going to put throughout their house. So there's nothing automatically that tells you an item is, if you have all the boards stacked up in your office, there's nothing automatically that says one is mobile and one is studio. Just follow these lists and we'll make sure you have the right items in the back of your mobile showroom. And then there's another tab on here. These are the new products that were introduced in 2023. I understand there's a bunch of people on this call. I'd sent out a list a week or so ago. You were missing 3 of these new vinyl introductions. I'm just waiting on the answers back from, I think, 2 of you. And I'll get those shipped out early next week. I think it was Roland, Grandiose, and there was one other item, Nordic View. So Nordic View, Roland, which is one sample board, and Grandiose. You guys may be missing that board, but I have the spreadsheet and they will be going out next week. So that's your That's your mobile showroom list. That's super important that you have. Another document that, let me just click out of here for a second. The other document that, again, this is something you don't need to know or use right now, is there's also a vendor drop list. This is basically a forever green document. So anytime anything gets discontinued, I add it to this list. I'm not going to jump into it right now, just in the interest of time. But if you ever, down the road, you need to sort of figure out, I haven't cleaned out my mobile showroom in a while, you can just check this vendor drop list. I keep it up to date. It's sortable by date, sortable by product category, it's sortable by mobile, studio, just about every way you can imagine. So these are the two documents in the mobile showroom that you would, perhaps want to look at on a kind of regular basis. The other place you want to go is vendor partner support. And I'll just show you, I'll take you a little tour through here. You can see we have vendors in US and Canada. For instance, there are some vendors that are USA only, for instance, Emser, and it just says USA only. And there's another one up here, Cali. You will see that is a USA only, and so is Bella Flooring Group. But I have a folder here for every vendor, and in there you can basically get everything you can ever imagine. I'll just pull up Cali. There are specification sheets for all of the products that we not only sample, but some of their other items. We also have, every month or so they put out actually what's called a surf report. I put it in here. There is a price list for all of the Cali items. This is not just what we sample, but everything that Cali samples. There's also, it should be in here somewhere, I'm not sure if I can find it. Here's the Cali credit application. I think actually the name of the national rep is on here. Typically there is a folder that will give you the national flooring rep and their contact information. So I'm going to tell you 95% of the time, you will find what you're looking for in the vendor partner support. Another good example, obviously, I'll jump into Shaw here real quick. There's specification sheets on almost all the products. There's even, if you somehow or another, you're missing a sample board, you left it at a customer's house, or somehow or another, you just don't know where it went. There's a replacement order form in here. You can jump in here and let's see if this comes up. You can look at this whole order form, find what you're missing, and just put a quantity of 1 in here or whatever you need. And you just email it to sampleorders@shawinc.com. So there's a way to replace your Shaw sample boards. The other way of ordering replacement boards is on the Shaw website. I'm not sure, oops, I don't have that up. But you can actually order sample boards from the Shaw website. You don't have to reach out to me. Now, if anything that's non-Shaw, which is all the other products, if you needed another sample board or replacement board, you would email myself and Bruce Klebinski, and we'll get that taken care of. So that's just a little bit on the Floor 101 and where to find information. So real quick, I want to go back to, let me click out of these items here. I want to go back to my presentation and just show you a few things that will be of value. Hold on one second. There's the competition crushers. If you were on the system-wide call yesterday, these are the 2 items that I called out. These are some of the best sellers, which are obviously highlighted in green on that mobile showroom list. There's the Cortec one. I'm not going to go through these again. But one of the things I wanted to bring up is about knowing your square foot cost, how to land a job. And I know Arlen just went through that LVP exercise. I just want to give you maybe a slightly different perspective on it. And these are prices that we got from one of our largest franchisees. And Arlen, please chime in here if there's something that you want to call out or if you've maybe covered some of this, but this is just pricing on some basic items. And it's really good for certainly when you guys are starting out, just to know if you're on the right side. So if you, let me just back up a bit. You take a look at carpet, and I'm just doing basic carpet. And one of the reasons that I have this very inexpensive carpet priced out is we were in doing an estimating exercise in Dallas a few weeks ago. And Jackie Adams, she was in a home that was a $1.1 million home. And basically it called in, we called in different, like Empire, 50 Floor, and then a couple local competitors. And both the local competitors, who were very, very competent estimators, they basically showed Jackie, and this is again a very expensive home, they showed her wasn't a 25-ounce polyester, it was a 24-ounce polyester. So just be aware of where your competition sometimes might be. And if you look at the math here, you've got $7 a yard. Again, I'm averaging a lot of stuff here. $7 a yard for carpet, $2 a yard for like a basic 6 or 8 pound pad, $3 a yard for rip up, and $3 a yard for furniture. Now, I obviously know labor prices can vary a bit throughout the country, but this is kind of your average price. So that's $15 a square yard all in. And at a 50 margin, that's $30 a square yard, or 33 a square foot. And it just I'm trying to communicate to you, you're doing a carpet estimate on a very, let's say, inexpensive carpet. You need to be all in that $30 to $35 a yard maximum price. So if you're looking at a 100-yard job and you're at $4,600, you're probably not going to close that order. You need to absolutely be in that range. So that's carpet. I think this is maybe a little bit more meaningful on vinyl. Again, in some markets, this can be 35, 40, and 50% of your business is on a basic vinyl. And I'm putting in numbers here for the two items that we now have on promotion at $1.59 or $1.60. Average price throughout the country is about $1.50. We're putting in about 50 cents a square foot for quarter round and transitions. And then about 20 cents a square foot for rip up, and 12 cents a square foot for furniture. And again, these are just averages. You add all those items up, you're $3.92 a square foot cost, or $7.84 a square foot installed. And I'm just saying, if you need to just use a rounding number, $7.50 a square foot is like a 48% margin, which is a pretty good margin. So what I'm saying is, on a vinyl job, and a lot of people, including your competition, are going to be showing basic 12 mil and maybe basic 20 mil items as their go-to items. So you need to be in that $8 to $10 a square foot price. I say, write that number down, put it in your head. Now, again, if there's lots of rip up involved and subfloor prep, all of that is outside of this number. This is basically ripping up carpet, installing vinyl with moldings. You need to be $8 to $10 a square foot. Again, you're doing 1,000 square foot and you're 13,600. Probably not going to close that order. There's going to be a competitor out there who's going to do it for less. So 8 to 10 on vinyl. And then just one more. This is hardwood, just a basic engineered hardwood, 3/8 inch by 5. Meander oak from Shaw fits that category. There is an optional item from Mohawk called Darville, the same price. Doing basically the same math. You're $6.21 a square foot for cost. And again, this is not including if there's lots of subfloor prep and what have you. $6.21 a square foot, or about $12 a square foot installed. So I'm saying your range needs to be 12 to 15, and I'm giving a pretty good sort of latitude there with that $15 a square foot. So these are numbers that really you need to have in your head 24/7. So you just take your final number, your final proposal number, divide it by the square feet. And if it's in this range, I'm going to say you're good. You're good. If you're outside of this range, and again, depending on whether it's a little or a lot, then you might have to just go back to your office and shred that proposal one more time to see where you can tighten up that number. So just real quick, I'm going to stop here for a second. Anybody got any questions on that estimating exercise or those numbers? And
Yeah, I see
Arlen, you can
Michael
put in there too.
Peppermint has his digital hand up. So let's go to Michael.
Thanks, Arlen. Thanks, Sean. This is super helpful stuff. I wondered if there is a place that you keep and update ranges like this that we can reference back to for, all different types of products.
I can certainly share that little, because again, it's very average. I can certainly share this with you. As far as updating it, this is not something that really would change on a monthly, 6-month, or even yearly business. I could say this document, if it's through today, it will be through in 6 months from today. The only thing might be different is if that vinyl promo goes away and it's $1, now it's $1.80. Well, again, that doesn't really change the metric that much. It would basically, if that was the case, it would change the metric by 40 cents a square foot. So you would just add 40 cents to it. So that metric it was good probably a year ago, and it'll be good probably a year from now. So I wouldn't worry about changes.
That makes tons of sense, and about it not changing. I would say, if you can share that with us, and maybe even broken out by price group, by product category.
Yeah, the only thing then would change in that is, the labor, the labor prices or your install prices are going to be the same. The only thing is you're going to plug in differently is the price of the product. Now, if you go to, like, let's say Grandiose Vinyl, that is, I don't know, let's say it's $4.49 a square foot. Well, you're adding about almost $3 a square foot cost to that equation. So that makes it quite a bit bigger. And one of the other things that, again, we've had these estimating exercises in a couple of market areas. And the thing that we've done these exercises before, but a little differently. Typically, they were all based on, and Arlen, this, sometimes we would just send out, PDFs of rooms. They weren't like real live situations. So this is information that's based on real life situations. Actually, let me just do my share screen here again, and I'll give you one example of a real life situation here. Hold on. Let's see, where is this sheet that I want to share? Let's see here. I'm going to give you this is one example of a real life situation. And these were estimates that we got from design associates and franchise owners. And the thing that I'll point out real quick here is the net square footage of this job, I measured it myself, was 740 square feet. So if you add 10% to that, let's say you're, I don't know, whatever it is, 815, 820. So for the most part, everybody was measuring, they were pretty good. Here's one franchise owner, he must have missed a room because he's actually, got less square footage. So in the square foot, we were pretty good, but some people, they added in a little bit too much material. Here's one at 952, 855. So big takeaway from this would be, is you got to make sure that your square foot on the project is tight and correct. And I'm sure Arlen's talked to you about this, because if you're wrong in this, if you're wrong in this column right here, the square feet, everything else is going to go to pot, because your freight's going to be too high, your labor is going to be high, your cost of material is going to be high, your obviously your square foot price is going to be higher because you're calculating it on a higher amount. So make sure the square foot is correct and double check it. Another thing I would sort of caution a lot of people on, let me just fix this a little bit, is calculating your total cost of freight. Here's one design associate added in $575 for freight. Your average freight in hard surface, 95% of the time is probably going to be about $100. And if you want to margin that up to $200, God bless you. That's what we're all about, making margin. But $575 287 or 288 and 300, that was too high. So just make sure your freight is in line with what you're really paying. And the other thing, obviously, is your install rate. Is make sure you're getting, you're meeting with your installer for the first time or whatever, and he gives you his or hers install rates. Well, double check it 2 or 3 different sources, 2 or 3 different places, because obviously everybody wants to make more money, so they're going to give you a higher rate. Make sure the rate is competitive with your market. And I'll just drop down here real quick on this particular case. We had estimates done by Empire, and at corporate level, we used to refer to Empire, as the evil empire. I'm going to say they're not evil anymore. Those guys are, I don't want to use the word, but their pricing is just crazy. You should never, ever, ever lose a job to Empire Flooring. Their pricing, you can see on this vinyl job, everybody picked a basic 12 or 20 mil vinyl. They were $13.10 a square foot install. There was no way, any smart customer would ever buy from Empire at that rate. But look at the competition. 50 Floor. It's a name that it's going to be relevant to some people on this call, and others who never heard of them. But they were $7.21 a square foot. Here was an independent store. The guy was extremely competent. I was on site for both of these. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was $7.76 a square foot. So if these guys in here are at $8.50, $9, $10 a square foot, you are not going to close those jobs when you've had 2 other competitors come in between $7.21 and $7.76. And the guy from 50 Floor, extremely competent as well. Who would I buy from? I probably would have bought from this guy down here at the bottom. I just liked him better. And the difference between 6,500 and 7,300, I really, his confidence level, just his whole demeanor, everything, I would have bought from this guy here, even though he was, whatever, it's almost $750 higher. I would have purchased from him. So, and that's true of what you guys are going to be doing. You are the owner operator, and your confidence level and how you set that rapport with your customer is going to make the difference. So I'm going to stop the share here again. So that's just giving you a real live example of where you can go off the rails as far as your average square foot pricing. And that's something that's a topic that we're going to talk about more and more, so that everybody knows what that number is in your market. In your local market, it might be $8.50, it might be $9 a square foot. We're not going to know that, because we can't do shop at home exercises for every one of you. But this is pretty close to where everybody should be.
Sean, there was another question by Linda, I believe.
Well, yeah, I think talking through that, you answered some of my question, but I guess my comment would be, do you guys suggest, as we start out, that we, in the interest of getting customers, getting reviews, getting some stability in our process, that we work harder to trim the numbers and maybe trim the margin initially, just to get some of those happy, satisfied, reviewing, referenceable customers in our bank that then will build better pipeline and ultimate higher close rate in the future?
That's a tough question. I think it's going to be up to each individual to sort of almost answer that themselves. But certainly, we all know it's just like dating. If you ask 3 people on a date and each one of them says no, your confidence level is going to go way down. But if you get a yes, yes, and a yes, I mean, now I'm going to be like, I'm going to play harder to get. So it's a crazy analogy, but I think you guys are going to independently have to make that decision. But certainly there is no substitute for the confidence you get closing those initial jobs. And if it has to be at a slightly lower margin, go for it. Like basically the bank doesn't know, the bank only knows one thing. It doesn't know what put it there. It's whether it's $1 or $5, it doesn't count margin. You take money to the bank. So those first few jobs, yeah, if you need to be a few points lower, take it. Absolutely. You'll get the confidence, and then, and again, just shredding your proposal based on those numbers I gave you is going to help you fix your missteps quicker.
Linda, if you don't mind, I'm going to tack onto that a little bit.
Yeah.
In the beginning, what's the most important thing? So like for your first 2 or 3 months in business, what is the most important thing? And I know I've been exactly where you guys are. You feel like the most important thing is I got to make money in the first 2 or 3 months. No, you don't. The first 2 or 3 months is about learning. The first 2 or 3 months is about learning this business, learning how to install, learning how to sell, learning all that, right? So my recommendation is that you do drop the margin at the beginning, but you don't get comfortable there, right? You never get comfortable selling at a low margin. So sell it at a 40% margin, fine. Sell it at a 40% margin. Personally, I would much rather land a bunch of jobs and learn from those jobs than to be obstinate about my gross margin and leave it at 50. Well, how much am I going to land on the jobs that I don't win? I'm not going to learn anything. So if I can sacrifice 10 points of margin for the first month or two, and that helps me learn a bunch, well, yeah, then that's what I want. And to get back to your original question, then yeah, now I've got a bunch of happy customers, and I can get reference lists, I can get reviews, I can get stuff on the website, I can get before and after pictures. I can leverage those first few customers for a lot of things. But I don't have any leverage. I don't have anything to do if I don't if I can't land the job.
Yep. Yeah, and Arlen, we've had examples of franchisees that who kind of like took those two different approaches, and then when you talk to them 3 months down the road, confidence level you get just from getting some jobs closed. And you know what? If you screw up, then fine. Because you will learn what you screwed up. You learn from your mistakes quicker. So just echoing what Arlen said is get those first few jobs closed, and you'll know whether or not, if you did good, bad, or indifferent. It's super important to get the experience. And if you make a mistake, you'll learn very quickly from that mistake. Hopefully, obviously it's a small one.
Now, I said don't get comfortable there. The downside of starting at 40 is that then you convince yourself you can't land a job higher than that. And so, okay, you start at 40 and you realize that you still have to sell, and selling is work. That's why salespeople get paid. So you realize, well, wait a minute, if I'm raising my margin to 42, I might not win as many. If I raise it to 45, I might not win as many. And so it can have a psychological impact on you as a salesperson. It can have a psychological impact that says, oh man, I'm having a hard time selling at 40. I'll never be able to sell at 50. Well, the reason you're having a hard time selling at 40 is because you haven't done it yet. I mean, you're just not experienced yet. And with experience comes confidence, and with confidence comes the ability to raise your margin. So just don't get comfortable at 40, but I absolutely suggest starting at 40.
Okay.
Arlen, would it make sense in a way to quote your prices at the higher margin, but then offer some type of grand opening discount or something like that? So then at least you're comfortable quoting at that higher amount, and then see the reactions from the customer, and then be like, oh, by the way, yes, we also are offering this 5% discount this month or something.
I love
Arlen,
that.
If I can jump in here. Now, I don't know if has anybody here invited a competitor to their home for an estimate?
Not recently.
Yes.
I have. It's on my list of things to do.
I'm going to say that is a must do. Because you have somebody come into your home, and you will learn an incredible amount from that. You're going to learn, like, if it's somebody who's confident, if they're showing you the right product, if you would buy from them, you will pick up so much information just from having that experience. And again, I said I would buy from the person who was like $800 higher. I just simply liked the person more. I could tell they were both equally competent, but I just liked the other guy's presentation that much more. And he pointed out a couple things that the other guy didn't. And I will tell you, to me, that is an absolute must do. And again, look at your competition. Pretend you are a consumer and I need flooring. Just see what is your customer going to find online. And I would recommend doing at least one local, and then maybe doing whoever the big guy is in your market. And again, the big guy in your market, and it might even be an Empire. Go through even that experience and you will learn what not to do. I just had another class just before this one, and the guy said it was on last Friday, and the customer told him they were $16,000. It was a $16,000 quote. He called him back later in the day, said he could do it for like 13.4, and then he got a call from corporate that said they could do it for like 11.6. And the customer straight up told, our franchisee, that just turned them off so much that they would never do business with them. But again, it's a learning experience. Go through it. You will learn more from that exercise than, listening to me or even listening to Arlen. Real life experiences like that they're just completely invaluable. So if you haven't done it, get on the horn, very quickly and get one of those estimates done. Make sure you put all your Floor Coverings International clothing away and park your mobile showroom down the street, as it were. But do it. You will learn so much.
Thank you.
Anything else?
John, would you take just a moment and show them the product selector?
Sure will. Let's see here. You guys see my Floor 1 screen? Oh, no, you can't. Nope. Sorry.
Nothing
Sorry, I
yet.
didn't. Nope, I didn't share the screen. I got to do that first. Okay. Back into merchandising resources. And you go down here as product selector, drop list and inventory forms. I think really mostly it's the product selector in here. Hold on a second. I'm going the old-fashioned method.
Go into Salesforce.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second, why am I doing this? Hold on a second here. I got to put in my password. Hopefully I can remember it. Sorry, I had this up and then it must have clicked out when I was switching between screens. I might have to come back to that in a second, Arlen, because I have to have a certain person click a button. Hold on, I'll see if I can. I might have to come back to this. But while I'm waiting on that, Arlen, have you basically, has this gang been, oh, here we go. It just clicked in. Have you given them any education on the product selector yet?
We've touched it. We touched it briefly in pre-launch.
Okay.
But repetition is the key to learning.
Yeah. So I'll do two things. So this is your PLM. And one of the first things that obviously you guys have been learned to about price groups. And sometimes people don't understand fully how the whole price group system works. And I'll just show you here real quick before we get into the product selector. If you come down here, sometimes it takes me a little difficult to find it as well. Right under here, you can see it's near the bottom. And again, I'm not sure if it's exactly this way in your PLM, but there is a tab that says price group catalog. And you can see there's 26 items in it. And if you can, I'm not sure if we can make that screen any bigger, but it's, let's say you want to know what carpet price groups are. Well, you just put in carpet. and you'll see you have PG1, PG2, PG3, PG4, and this is what the cost is averaged on. So if a carpet book, if a carpet cost is $7.50 a square foot, $8.50, $9.50, $10, $10.50, $11, probably up to about $12.99 or whatever. It's going to have a PG1. It's just the average price of carpets. Now, carpeting has probably one of the larger price groupings. You can see you can go from $10.50 to actually it goes all the way up to $47 a square yard. So there's quite big gaps between the PG levels. So if a carpet happened to be, let's say, if you can see where my mouse is, let's say if a carpeting was $20 a square yard, it might have a PG2 because $20 is closer to $15.66, or maybe that's not the right number. Let's say $19.50. Let's say if the number is closer to this, it might be a PG2 rather than like a PG3 number. So just be aware that the average pricing or the average PG level on carpet has quite a big range. If I put in vinyl, you will see it's a little different. This happens to be sheet goods. Actually, I think there's one vinyl floating. Let me just see if it'll bring that up, because that's obviously the bigger category. So you can see PG1 vinyl is $220. So like even those items that I had, like Stokeman and Andean, Impact, the Cali's Builder's Choice, they all fall within this PG1 grouping. See, it's $220. PG2 on floating is $279. So the range is a little closer in that. So just be aware that's what the PG groups are. It's just a static number, and it's just the average of prices. This is something that I look at periodically, probably twice a year, to see if we need to change them. It's been pretty stable now for over a year. There might be some older sample styles where the pricing has changed a little bit, and that PG level might be off one, but that would be unusual because for the most part, we've sequenced out all the older boards. So that's the PG group price catalog. And you can go in here and you can print it. You can sort it by, you can see the different categories we have set up. Incidentally, there's no PG level for tile. It just wouldn't make sense to have that. So that's the PG level. So the product selector. So this is a way you can, if I want to look at carpet, and I want to see everything that is just inexpensive carpet. Obviously, maybe on your first appointments, you want to maybe, again, be a little bit more cautious and show some lower priced items. You can filter everything that's in your mobile showroom, and you can just come down here to, you can see there's types, there's by vendor. You can see 126 of the 135 or 140 items, they're all Shaw. You can filter by collection type, by color, and by color I mean like multicolor, dual tone, solid. There's even a demo filter, and if you come down here, and there's a durability one, there's a stain resistance filter, there's a width filter, fiber filter. I mean, you can actually add multiple filters just like you're on Zillow. You can do what's available in PG1, 15-foot wide and solid tone, you name it. But if I just want to see what's in PG1, I click this button and it will show me all of the styles that are in PG1. So we have, I think, what was it? We have 11 items in PG1. And then you can just go across here. It'll show you durability, stain resistance. Obviously, you can see the price group just indicated by the $1 sign. So you can sort as many ways as you like. So the other thing that you can do in here, so let's say I want to sell Afton Fleck. If you click on this, you'll get this screen comes up. And right off the bat, you can see it's a Shaw R2X product. Just so you're aware, it'll give you basically all of the other information in a different format, shows you the cost, shows you all the colors. But this particular carpet, it has R2X. So there are clickable links in the product selector where you can click on it. So if you want to show a customer the benefits of Shaw R2X, and I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, but I'll just click on it to see if it works. You guys see the video?
Mhm.
So I'm not going to play it in the interest of time, but there are clickable links in all of the items in the product selector. And these are all videos that are consumer facing. So if you want to, you know, customer, you say something to a customer about, you know, this carpet is R2X, and you're fumbling over how it's best to explain how R2X works, you can click on this and it will show a video, and you can absolutely show it to the customer. There's all of the videos that are linked here are all consumer facing. So it's just another handy tool where we're bringing a little bit of technology in to help you in your enterprise. So I'm not sure if that's something that you guys were aware of at all.
And by the way, when you get into the product selector from the tablet does the same thing. Now, Sean has gone in through Salesforce, which is great. When you're in a home and you're on your tablet, you can get into the product selector from the tablet. And as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi, it'll play the videos there as well.
So I'll just real quickly show Vinyl.
Do you mean
You've
through
all-
InspireNet on the tablet when you go to the product
Yes.
selector? Okay.
Yeah, so when you're in InspireNet, you'll notice down at the lower left-hand corner it's not on every screen, but on some of the screens at the lower left-hand corner, you'll see a button that takes you to the product selector. You can go into the product selector, you're going to the exact same data, and those links are in there as well. And so you could have your tablet with you in the home, and if you weren't comfortable telling the customer what R2X is, great. You can simply turn the tablet around to them and let them watch the little, minute and a half video.
Yeah. It's probably all of these. I think there's a total of like 10 videos between the carpet and vinyl and hardwood. And they're all maybe a minute to 2.5 minutes long. I just happened to be in the product selector here for vinyl. The very first item that comes up, Adelaide. Look at the videos that's attached to it. There's actually one on LVT wear layer technology. This has the soft step premium underlayment. This also has the enhanced integrated bevel. So there's lots of additional information that is attached to the products in your product selector. So again, this is something that when you're starting out in business is going to be a little bit more meaningful. A year from now, will you need to use the product selector? Probably not. But for the first 6 months or so, it absolutely can be your friend. And again, you can filter by price, you can filter by durability, you can filter by wear layer. You just want to show people, let's say it's 12 mil items. You come down here and you start clicking buttons and it'll give you the filter. Now, one of the other things you can do, and Arlen, I cannot demonstrate it here, or at least I don't think I can. There is an option up here. On your Salesforce demo, you'll have a printer up here where I'm circling. For some reason, I don't have it. When you press print, it'll print an Excel file of all of these items. And then obviously in an Excel, you can alphabetize it. You can do it by wear layer. If you just want, let's say it's 15-foot carpet in a pattern, you can print a price list for that. So depending on, what your, you get your leads and the customer has asked for certain things, you can go in here and you can print this product selector. Like there's almost an indefinite number, an infinite number of ways you can print it. Again, it prints it, you can print it in an Excel format, which makes it readily sortable. And then that way you can save it on your laptop or your Samsung Galaxy Pad or whatever. And you can sort it, any way you want, if you obviously know how to do that through Excel. So there's lots of other little functions you can do with the product selector that may not be obvious. And again, as you go in here and play around with it, I mean, you can't break it, so don't worry about that. Just go in there and play around with it and just come up with crazy scenarios. You know, you want price group 5 in pattern carpet or something like that. And you want it to be in, a certain price range or from a certain vendor. You can do all that. So
Nice.
lots of,
thank you. Yeah, nice.
yeah.
Thank you, Sean, for doing that. I
Yep.
appreciate you taking the extra
Yep.
time to do that.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have
Again-
to pull us to a close here. Has anybody got a last minute question for Sean before we wrap this up? All right, so as you guys do get into the product selector and start playing with it, and maybe even start using it to do your homework, then that will obviously be a resource for you. So again, your homework, I'd love to get them by Thursday, but to be honest, we're not going to have a ton of time on Thursday to go through it. We've got financing vendors coming in on Thursday, so you really do have until next week to get this done. Write an LVP proposal for a friend or family member. It just can't be your own house. So pick a different house. Again, you are not trying to sell this job, but the reality is that somebody in this class is going to sell a job before you open. And it might be one of these LVP jobs. If you do sell it, great, sell it, and we'll work our way through it. The other piece of the homework is to unbox your LVP samples if you haven't already done so. And I've already given you the same spreadsheet that you've got for doing hardwood. There's a tab for LVP. Go through and start doing the same list for the LVP. So what is the wear layer? What does it look like? What does it feel like? All the same kind of stuff, right? This is your cheat sheet for you to be able to use. I think everybody but Charlotte was on, so this is more for Charlotte than anybody else. If you missed today, your makeup word is Darcy's donkey. And again, extra credit for not only if you can figure out where it comes from, but maybe if you send me a link to it. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, your next.
Arlen, just one thing
Yes.
before I bow out of here. There's I sent an email earlier this morning. There's 2 or 3 people on this group that I'm waiting on an answer back if you received those 3 sample books. So if you don't see an email from me, you're good. If there's an email with my name on it, answer back, because I want to get this taken care of literally tomorrow morning, ordering the samples that were not shipped. Okay.
Nice. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
What were those three
Roland,
products again?
Roland, Grandiose, and Nordic View.
All right, my samples come tomorrow, so I'll check those.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
All right. I will see you guys on Thursday, and I look forward to working through proposals that you send between now and then. All right. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.